Kentucky lawmakers head back to the Capitol tomorrow to start a special session centered on the pandemic. WDRB's Dakota Sherrick reports on where there's common ground and where the governor likely will not get his way. Dakota?
Both the governor and some Republican legislators have expressed the belief that on a lot of things there's general agreement. One thing most do agree on wholeheartedly is that this special session is needed.
Now is the time to act.
On Saturday, Governor Beshear officially called for a special session, asking legislators to create legislation aimed at curbing COVID-19.
COVID it has been serious the whole time, and there's a big spike right now with the Delta variant.
This is no longer an urban versus rural problem or a Democrat versus Republican problem. Every county in Kentucky is struggling with the Delta variant right now.
One item all sides seem to agree on: the state of emergency, which is set to end on Friday, needs to continue.
There are multiple school districts across the state that are closing because their rates are so high. There are emergency rooms that are filling up. There's a shortage of ventilators. We really are in a state of emergency right now. To not recognize that legislatively would be a mistake.
It's unquestionably a good idea. There's a lot of things that the state of emergency, a lot of things depend on the state of emergency being continued, which will be done. Things from receiving federal funds, things of that nature.
Giving more flexibility to schools in how they manage pandemic impacts is also generally agreed upon. Some legislators expressing willingness to consider increasing NTI days and loosening other restrictions. However, the topic of restoring the governor's powers when it comes to mask mandates is another matter.
I am not for a broad, one-size-fits-all mask mandate. On every issue, we need to get away from the one-size-fits-all solutions that the governor was doing last year.
Beshear admitted it will be unlikely the legislature will allow him to have general mask mandate authority, but he'd like to see a compromise made.
My hope is that they will consider a threshold to where they will provide me that authority. In other words, if the local government can keep the levels low in the green or even in the yellow, then maybe they would make that determination. But when it gets to orange or especially red, sometimes it's easier to make the call here.
Whatever the final outcome may be, legislators on both sides of the aisle are ready to get the special session started.
Your representatives and your governor are working together. We don't agree on everything, but we are working together, I think, very well.
We have to come together and say we're going to let science and facts guide our decisions on how best to protect our people, to keep our businesses and schools open, and to make sure that we really do get through to the other side of this pandemic.
That special session tomorrow will begin at 10 a.m. Dakota Sherrick, WDRB News.